Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Olson. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I'd like to welcome you all to the fourth dimension. Big book study, that is. I'm glad you guys are all here. I know I'm certainly glad I'm here. I never feel more alive than when I'm sharing the miracle of God's recovery in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous that we access through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous that I discovered in a book called Alcoholics Anonymous. And let's share that book together tonight, shall we? As we always do. We are going to begin with the set aside prayer. It goes a little something like this. Sing along if you know the words. God, please help me to set aside everything I think I know about you, about me, about my fellow man, and about the 12 steps. And please allow me to gain a fresh new vision, perspective, and understanding of what you, what me, what my fellow man, and the 12 steps are all about. Amen. And as this is the fourth dimension big book study, I always like to read the two parts of our book that refer to the fourth dimension. So first of all, on page 8, Bill Wilson writes, I was soon to be catapulted into what I like to call the fourth dimension of existence. I was to know happiness, peace, and usefulness in a way of life that is incredibly more wonderful as time passes. And then on page 25, Bill Wilson writes that we have found much of heaven and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to be catapulted. We're going to be rocketed. And for the sake of the tradition and the custom of the fourth dimension big book study, everybody will please put one hand up like this. And everybody please put another hand up like this. And everybody go, oh, yes. All right, I never get tired of that. I'm going to have fun tonight. I highly suggest you do as well. It's not required, but man, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. And it's for free and for fun. Alcoholics Anonymous, man. It's for free and for fun. And we absolutely insist on enjoying life here in Alcoholics Anonymous. So let's enjoy some life together tonight. Let's enjoy some big book together tonight. We're going to be on step 10 tonight. Step 10 says, continue to take personal inventory.
Excuse me, Kevin. I hate to interrupt. I apologize profusely for that.
Sure.
I just wanted to say, I believe it's your birthday today, your AA birthday today.
I think that's a really good excuse to interrupt.
Oh, thank you very much, Gail. I appreciate that. I just didn't know
Well,
when exactly to jump in, but I just wanted to say happy birthday.
well, thank you. Thank you very kindly. Thank you. It's actually tomorrow. So it's actually tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh, well, happy birthday, dude, tomorrow.
But I appreciate it nonetheless. It is my birthday where Scott B is right now. And I want to acknowledge Scott B. Thank you very much for the lovely WhatsApp note that you sent me, Scott. And very, very meaningful. And I wanted to, rather than just respond to the WhatsApp, I wanted to thank you in person, if you will, as close as we get to in person, to say thank you for sending that over. It's nice that somebody remembered. And no, I'm just teasing. Scott, no, it was lovely, a lovely note, and yeah, thank you. One clarification, though, Scott, that I want to make to you is that I changed my sobriety date about 2 years ago. So here's the story. I'm going to tell you guys the story. It was one of the harder things I've ever had to do in Alcoholics Anonymous. The last time I drank was February 18th of 2001, and that was my sobriety date going forward for a long time. February 18th, 2001. And around 2009, I smoked some marijuana. I smoked some pot in 2009. And by the way, I'm not saying that I smoked like half a joint and put it away. Like I smoked pot in 2009 for a little while. I smoked some pot. And I talked to my sponsor at that time about it, and he said, well, it was this is Alcoholics Anonymous. We have no opinion on outside issues, no problem. It's not a big deal. Okay. And so I didn't change my sobriety date. And when I got my new sponsor, Alan, and I attended the Pacific Group in Los Angeles, and I went there for the first time, in their preamble, it says the Pacific Group defines sobriety as freedom from alcohol, pot, pills, and anything else that affects us from the neck up. And it hit me like a gunshot wound in the chest. And I addressed it with my sponsor, and that was it. And we, on my following birthday, February 18th, it was I guess 2 years ago. I guess it was last year. It was actually last year. I was supposed to be taking 23 years, and instead I took, no, it was 2 years ago. I was supposed to be taking 23 years sober, and I took 15 instead. And anyway, and that was a very hard thing to do. It was a very hard thing for me to do. It was like chopping off part of my arm, man, giving up sobriety time for that. But there was just no way I could do it anymore. So I have no real opinion on, whether or not, anyone here is smoked pot or is smoking pot. I just know for me, when that came to me, I had to make that change, man. And my sponsor, man, he was the best. When I brought it to Alan, I said, Alan, what do I do? And he said, Kevin, I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is really between you and God, and whatever you choose to do, I'll support. But just know that this is, it's make sure that you know what you want to do, because once you ring that bell, you're not going to be able to unring it. And so anyway, I knew right away it was the right thing to do. And that's what I did. And it was exceptionally hard, standing up in front of Primary Purpose Group at our birthday. And I remember Alan made the joke. I know he came in virtually, said, I know the elephant in the room is usually that when you start sponsoring someone, typically their sobriety time increases. This may be one of the first times I started sponsoring someone and their sobriety time actually decreased. But it was for sure the right thing to do. And it sucked, man. It sucked. It was extremely hard to do. But as we all know, the right thing to do and the easy thing to do are seldom the same thing. And in fact, it was the fact that it was hard is what made me, know that I needed to do it. And so anyway, I'm very glad that I got that cleared up. So I wanted to clear that up with you, Scott, and with everyone here. My sobriety date is February 18th of 2009, and 17 years tomorrow. God's grace and the miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous, and all y'all. Anyway, okay, so thank you very much for that acknowledgement, Rob. Yeah, it's been a trip, man. It's been a trip. It's an amazing life that I get to live today. A blessed and eventful life that I get to live today. So enough about me, man. Let's get into the reason we're all here, which is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, man. Let's share a little bit more about this beautiful program of recovery. We're going to be in step 10 tonight, which says we continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Okay. So one of the first things that I always like to point out about step 10 is that we've already done this. Okay, we're continuing to do something that we've already done. We're continuing to take inventory. Well, where did I learn to take inventory the first time? Step 4. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why it's so essential, man. Like that 4-topic, or rather the 4-column inventory that we learn in resentment or for fear. That is, like, when we talk about a spiritual toolkit, that is one of the spiritual toolkits. And I want you all to know that I use that 4-column inventory all the time. Okay? Column 1, who am I mad at? My boss. Okay? And I don't wait. One of the things that Joe and Charlie talk about is if I'm going to stay sober, I'm going to live a happy, contented recovery, I am going to inventory. Okay? And I can put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off until I'm so sick, I'm almost drunk. or I can do a little bit of inventory all the time. Okay. And tonight, by the way, as we talk about step 10, guys, tonight's going to be one of the times that we're gonna talk about one of the other foundational books in our program. And I know I appreciate this isn't a big book study, but we're going to talk a little bit about what's called the 12 and 12, the 12 steps and 12 traditions. And taking a quick look here at step 10, um, one of the things that it says here on page 89 in the 12 and 12 is the time principle, the time factor that distinguishes the different types of inventory that we may do. And I don't mean to put him on the spot, but Brad, do you have your 12 and 12 handy?
I do.
Okay, if you could be kind enough, let's go to page 89. And if anybody doesn't have a 12 and 12, just listen up and listen along with Brad, okay? Page 89, although all inventories are alike in principle, we're going to talk about the three types of inventory, the three types of step 10 inventory, and the time factor that distinguishes them. So I'm going to turn it over to Brad, please.
Thanks, Kevin.
Do you want me to screen share the page?
That would be wonderful if you can, Rob. By all means, let's give Rob a moment to get aligned on that. And I think
I want to share something real quick about when you change your sobriety date while he does that. So, hey everybody, I'm Brad. I'm an alcoholic. And not only the part Kevin left out of the story is he phoned all of his sponsees before that birthday meeting and told us all individually what happened. And or at least I know him and I talked, and he was, super humble about it. And he was like, I understand if you want to change your sponsor, blah, 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 blah. I'll help you find a new sponsor if you want, blah, blah, blah. And it's like in one ear while at the other, like, I love you more than ever because you came to me and told me, all this whole story. And I was like, why would I change sponsors, right? So anyways, I know before that meeting, I remember it well. And I don't know how many phone calls you made ahead of it, but I'm sure it was more than just
a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
exactly.
I had to make a lot of phone calls, man. I had to
left that part out, but it was
for some people on their birthdays eat birthday cake. I ate a bunch of humble pie. It was exceptionally hard. But I didn't have to do it alone. And my sponsor, like Alan, I can't say enough. I'm really excited for you guys to meet him. His grace and his kindness and his patience. And when I told him that I was going to change my date, he was so proud of me and told me how proud he was. And here's the funny thing. This is like one of the takeaways of that story, right? Is that I thought that it was going to be a bad thing and that people were going to think poorly of me and that my reputation in AA, I'm so concerned with my reputation, but I had to do this thing. I was worried my sponsor was going to be mad at me. I thought all my sponsees are going to fire me. People at my group are going to think I'm a liar and I'm a loser and all that stuff. And it just goes to show that what I think, my perception of what's going to happen in the world is absolutely wrong because it had the complete opposite effect. My sponsor was more proud of me than ever. All of my sponsees loved me and surrounded me and supported me more than ever. People at my group applauded that I did that. So it just goes to show, that we have no idea what's really good for us and what's really bad for us. I just have to follow God's grace. I have to keep the little circle inside the big circle at all times and then just trust God. Anyway, thank you for that, Brad. Back to you, page 89, although all inventories are alike in principle.
All right. Although all inventories are alike in principle, the time factor does distinguish one from another. There's the spot check inventory taken at any time of the day whenever we find ourselves getting tangled up. There's the one we take at day's end when we review the happenings of the hours just past. Here we cast up a balance sheet, crediting ourselves with things well done and chalking up debits where due. Then there are those occasions when alone or in company of our sponsor or spiritual advisor, we make a careful review of our progress since the last time. Many AAs go in for an annual or semi-annual house cleanings. Many of us also like the experience of an occasional retreat from the outside world where we can quiet down for an undisturbed day or so of self-overhaul and meditation.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rob, for posting that. So really, guys, there's three three types of inventory that we look at in step 10. Okay. The first is the spot check inventory. And that's like right here, right now, when I'm getting tangled up. And I love that phrase that Bill uses, when we're getting tangled up. Anyone here ever been tangled up in emotions? Like today? Anybody here anybody here get tangled up today? I had a pretty good day, but man, I'm prone. I get tangled up a lot. Okay. I can. Anybody here capable of sitting at home completely alone and getting tangled up? Okay, I don't need you to get tangled up, man. Believe me, I sit at home with the old disaster factory at home. I get tangled up real good, man, like a cuckoo bird, man. Nuts. So in those moments, the first thing that I need to do is recognize that I am tangled up. Okay, that's the first thing, man. Is that pause is like so important, man, to just stop and say like, okay, there's something going on in me right now. I am not feeling well. Okay. And how am I going to address this? Or I might be in an argument with someone and I need to recognize, okay, what's going on and to stop that spot check inventory right now. And, we're going to talk here in a bit here. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so the first thing we're talking about the spot check inventory, okay, which is like right here, right now. And in that moment, okay, and then we talk about the daily or nightly inventory, okay. And step 10 and step 11 are really pretty tightly interwoven. And actually what a lot of people consider to be their nightly inventory is actually step 11 in our book. Okay. So 10 and 11 are really tightly interwoven. But in terms of the daily or nightly inventory, that's the other time factor. And then what's called an annual or semi-annual house cleaning. And what do we do there? What does that mean? Well, it's exactly like doing a fifth step. Okay, that's what we do. Okay, I got a sponsee coming up here I think he's like 25 years sober, and we're doing his step 5 on Sunday. Okay, and that's how you get to be 25 years sober, by the way. Okay, you get to be 25 years sober by doing constant inventory. So yes, spot check inventory right here, right now, in the moment. Daily or nightly inventory, and that we do. For me, I do it at day's end. Some people do their inventory in the morning. I like to do my inventory at night. That's kind of when I do all my practices. I pray in the morning, and then most of my inventory and gratitude and meditation practices are in the evening. Then the annual or semi-annual house cleaning. And again, I would say like one of the things that I hear in AA rooms a lot is like, we only do one step 5. Okay, we only do one step 5. And anybody here ever heard that? You do one step 5, and then the rest you just clean a house, right? You do it as you go. Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm just going to point out that's not what it says in the 12 and 12. It's not what Bill Wilson said in 1950. Okay, in 1950. Bill Wilson said that many of us go in for an annual or semi-annual house cleaning. And the analogy that I like to make with my sponsees is this. Most of us do a little bit of cleaning here and there. Okay, we put the dishes in the dishwasher. Maybe we make our bed. We fold the clothes. We sweep, maybe the floor a little bit. Okay, we do kind of the daily cleaning, right? You guys with me on that? Okay, we think of it as the spot check cleaning or the daily or nightly cleaning. Most of us do that. But there are things that we do around the house that you don't do them every day. For example, something like washing windows in your house. Okay, none of us washes the windows on our house every day, but it needs to be done. Because what happens if I don't wash the windows once a year? What gets blocked out? The sunlight of the spirit, baby. Okay, if I'm not washing the windows or taking care of those bigger things, okay, and so this is how I live, man. I'll just say, like, I do a daily or nightly inventory. I try to be constantly aware of how I'm responding and interacting when I'm getting tangled up, and so on. And then the annual or semi-annual house cleaning, I do a fifth step or a spoken, annual inventory with my sponsor. Once a year. for sure. And we kind of have a scheduled regular time that we do it. Alan and I do it typically at the State Line Conference in Las Vegas. And we just at the hotel right there at State Line, we'll do a little inventory. So why am I mentioning this? Okay, well, I mentioned that when in step 10 we continue to take inventory, and so one of the things is like that 4-column inventory that I learned in step 4. Column 1, who am I angry at? Column 2, why? Column 3, how's it affecting me? In between column 3 and column 4, saying that prayer, and then column 4, where am I to blame? What decisions based on self in the past have I made that put me in this position to be hurt? When I look in the mirror, the thing that I'm angry at this person for, am I guilty of the same thing? Okay, where am I guilty of this today? Where am I to blame today? Am I using this as an excuse for what's going on in my life? Okay, and I'll do all of everything I just mentioned to you, everything I just said to you. I will do sometimes, like sitting in a boardroom, angry at one of my coworkers, and I'm doing this little 4-column inventory literally like in my mind, okay, in that moment, because I can't take out a pen and paper like column 1, you, like I can't write it out, right? So I'm just thinking in my head, okay, and the thing is, man, these things in AA or fear. Maybe I'm sitting in a restaurant, or I'm sitting with someone and I feel myself tangled up, and I ask myself, what's going on right now? Oh, I'm terrified right now. Okay, I'm really afraid of what's going on or what these people are going to think, or I'm going into this meeting or whatever. Okay, column 1, what am I afraid of? Right? Like, think about it. What am I afraid of? Column 2, why am I afraid? Column 3, how is self-reliance failing me? Then I say the prayer, God, please remove my fear of this situation and direct my attention towards what you would have me be. What would God have us be? Love and service, baby. Okay. Then I'm thinking, I got my mindset right. How can I go help someone? How can I get out of my own head? Okay. And then how would trusting God remove this fear? I do all this stuff. I live this way, man, so that when I am plagued by these emotions that make life difficult, which is, I'm sorry to say, but like as an alcoholic, please do not think that I have overcome at 17 years sober, that I've suddenly transcended human emotions. You know, I learned that from Clancy. Thank God he taught me that. He didn't teach it to me directly. I heard him say it on a tape. No matter how long we stay sober, we never get to overcome basic human emotions. Okay? The problem, the deal in AA is not that I'm not going to have emotions. The deal in AA is that I have tools to learn how to manage them, how to cope with them, and bring a spiritual solution into them. Okay, so I'm continuing to take inventory. Okay, and when I'm wrong, promptly admitting it. Okay, and so the spot check inventory. When I feel myself getting tangled up, I will try everything I can to apply these tools. Okay. And one of the tools sometimes, guys, is, and it talks about it in the chapter 2 Wives, is that when we're getting heated into a heated argument or a heated debate, sometimes the best thing to do is to separate. Okay. And that can be one of the spot check inventories that I can take too. Okay. Because when I'm getting into it and my blood pressure's getting up and I'm breathing heavy, man, nobody ever made a good decision or had a peaceful conversation with an elevated blood pressure. Okay, I got to calm down and then come back to the conversation. Maybe when I step away, do a little bit of inventory. Okay, so those are really the three, the time factor between the three. Okay, spot check inventory, the daily or nightly inventory, the annual or semi-annual house cleaning. Okay, so we're going to come back to another part of step 10 in the 12 and 12 in a few moments. For now, though, let's get into step 10 in the big book. And talk through that. So we're on page 84, and Brad will read for us. Thank you, Brad. This thought brings us to step 10.
All right, this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commenced this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code.
Okay, I'm going to simplify step 10 for you in the best way possible. And this is something I learned from a great AA speaker. His name is Mike S. And I met him at the State Line Conference, and he actually said this as part of his talk. And I'd never heard this before, but I absolutely love it. And this is my gift to you now. Okay, you want to simplify step 10. We look for 4 things, and we do 4 things. That's step 10. We look for 4 things and we do 4 things. So what are the 4 things we look at? We look for, rather. Okay. When I'm tangled up, Brad just mentioned them. Continue to watch for selfishness, number 1, dishonesty, number 2, resentment, number 3, fear, number 4. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. We look for those 4 things. When I'm tangled up, those are the things I want to ask myself. Am I being selfish here? Am I being dishonest? Am I being resentful? Am I feeling resentful, or am I feeling fearful? Those are the 4 things we look at. Okay. Then we do 4 things. What are the 4 things we do? When these crop up, not if they crop up, when they crop up, because they're going to crop up. We ask God at once to remove them. Number 1, we ask God at once to remove them. 2, we discuss them with someone immediately. 4, we make amends if we've harmed anyone. And 5, we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone else we can help. Okay? Number 1, we ask God to remove them. Number 2, we talk to somebody else about them. Number 3, we make amends where we've harmed someone. And number 4, we turn our thoughts, we go help someone else, man. Okay, we go help someone else. So step 10, we look for 4 things and we do 4 things. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, fear. When these crop up, ask God to remove them, talk to someone about them, make amends if we've harmed anyone, and then go help someone else. Okay. And I would say that going to help someone else, like when in doubt in Alcoholics Anonymous, when in doubt, if I don't know what to do, you will never be steered wrong by just trying to go help someone else. Okay. That is, it pays off like nothing else in my experience. Going to help someone else is always a good answer in Alcoholics Anonymous. I always say, like, with my sponsees, if I ask you a question, you give me the answer, go help someone else, you will always get partial marks for that answer. Okay? Okay? You'll always get partial marks for love and service. We're going to be of service to someone else. So we look for 4 things and we do 4 things. Brad, you want to keep reading for us, please?
And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame.
All right, so I'm going to pause here, Brad. I'm going to pause here. These are what are colloquially known as the step 10 promises. Okay, last week we talked about the step 9 promises. These are the step 10 promises. Okay. And oftentimes, when you're working with a newcomer, these can actually be a lot more tangible than the step 9 promises. Okay, because this is the result of what I was always really looking for. I mean, and this is really the magic of Alcoholics Anonymous that we're going to see here right now, is that we have been transformed. Where we were at once powerless, we haven't become powerful. We have gained access to the power. Okay, we have access to the power now, and that power is restoring us to sanity. How do I know that? That's what it says. That's exactly what it says. For by this time, sanity will have returned. Okay, so people will often ask, like, in step 2, okay, we're insane in step 2. At what point does sanity return? It tells us right there, man. In step 2, in step 10, rather, we are restored to sanity. So, I mean, it begs the question, what has happened between step 2 and step 10? A lot of work. A lot of work has happened. Okay. And nothing, what I want to point out, what I really want to say about step 10, or about AA and us being restored to sanity right now in step 10, it's not that we have added things to us in Alcoholics Anonymous through the working of the steps. We have removed things, haven't we? Step 4 and 5, are we not removing things? Step 6 and 7, what are we doing? We're removing things. Okay? Steps 8 and 9, we are making amends, and that is thereby removing the guilt and the shame that I feel as a result of living the life that I lived for so long. We're removing these things, and we're finally making room for this power to come into our lives. We talked about step 2 and 3. I make a decision that I want to have this thing. I want to have this relationship with God, but I can't get connected to it. It's like that Wi-Fi in this, the great Wi-Fi, man. I'm trying to get connected to the Wi-Fi, but I can't. I got a bad signal. By this time, now sanity has returned. Okay? We've ceased fighting anything or anyone, for by this time sanity will have returned. Now, this is what I love, man. Okay? Page 84, it says, if tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. Okay? Now, I want you all to go back and look at page 24. On page 24, hopefully you already have a little note there when we went through this the first time that says see page 84. Okay? Okay? On page 24, when we are still sick and riddled with the disease of alcoholism, and we still have an alcoholic mind, it says there is a complete failure of the kind of defense that keeps one from putting his hand on a hot stove. The alcoholic may say to himself in the most casual way, it won't burn me this time. And yet he gets burned. I got burned over and over and over and over. And I swore off and I kept getting burned. I'm unable to recall with sufficient force the memory, the pain, and humiliation of a week or a month ago. And I keep getting burned. Okay? And now on page 84, whereas I used to burn myself on the stove over and over and over with my alcoholic mind, you fast forward now. And again, what have we done? We've done this work now. We've done a bulk of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. We've done this work. And now on step 10, it says, if tempted, I recoil as if from a hot flame. Okay? I have been restored to sanity. My alcoholic mind no longer dominates me, and I have been restored to sanity. Does that make sense, guys? And what I want to point out that this doesn't happen just by sitting around in 3-topic discussion meetings hoping my life gets better. Sitting around in 3-topic discussion meetings hoping my life gets better is not recovery from alcoholism. It is not. Recovery from alcoholism, being restored to sanity, happens as the result of the actions in this book. If I do these actions, I will get these results, okay? Thank you. Brad, do you want to keep reading the step 10 promises for us, please?
We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We'll see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition.
Okay, so there's a price to be paid there. That's how we react so long as what? I keep in fit spiritual condition. Okay? And what that means to me is that I am actively working this program on a daily basis. Okay? Sobriety time. Yeah, great. I'm celebrating 17 years. I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, time is not safety, okay, at all, okay? And many of us have seen people go out with days sober, weeks sober, months sober, years sober, decades sober, because of the amazing recuperative power of the alcoholic ego. If left unchecked, that sucker will grow back, okay? And I start to get sick with untreated alcoholism in sobriety, okay? You know what that looks like? That looks like when I'm sick, when I'm crazy in AA, when I'm crazy with the disease of alcoholism, I'm fine, but suddenly you guys are all screwed up. It's all you guys are screwed up, but I'm fine. When I'm well, I'm good, You're all good. We're all good. When I get crazy, I don't recognize that it's me that's crazy. It looks like you are all crazy. Okay. I'm fine and you guys are all nuts. And little by little, I start backing away from Alcoholics Anonymous. Little by little, I start building a wall between me and AA again. And I start building a wall between God and I. Okay. And it's just a slow erosion of all the things that I built up until one day, suddenly, isn't that what our book says? Suddenly the thought occurred that a couple drinks, I've seen it happen time and time and time again. So I will react sanely and normally so long as I keep in fit spiritual condition. Okay. Um, I believe that the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, the success rate in AA is 100%. I believe that. Okay. I believe that AA works 100% of the time. The problem is I don't work 100% of the time. Okay. And so I got to keep working, man. I got to keep working all the time. And the nice thing is, Emmett Fox talked about this, that the two ways to motivate a horse. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. The two ways to motivate a horse are the stick or the carrot. Okay. The stick is we're getting whipped by the negative thing that's pushing us forward. Okay. And for a lot of us, when we first get to AA, that it's a stick. Okay. It's the pain of my life that's propelling me forward. And little by little, through the miracle and the process of Alcoholics Anonymous, and the growth and the life and living, being able to experience happiness and usefulness and joy in AA, little by little, my desire to keep doing this stuff is no longer the stick. The pain, it's become a carrot. And a carrot is the incentive, the good thing in front of you that you want more of. Okay. And so my motivation in AA to continue doing this stuff is because, man, my life is unbelievable today. I've never had it so good, and I am blessed beyond my capacity to receive. I could share with you all of the gifts that I've been given, and but it's the amazing thing about the alcoholic condition though is that it does not take long of me separated from the presence of God and the consciousness of the reality of God in my life and getting away from Alcoholics Anonymous, even for a small period of time, before all these blessings that I have in my life start to look like problems, don't they? You know what I mean? They look like problems. They look like issues. I start getting into self-pity. I start getting into resentment. And nothing has changed. Everything is the same. As Clancy says, we have a disease of perception, man. I see the world, but I see it very poorly. Okay, and Alcoholics Anonymous has been divinely crafted for alcoholics to help change my perception of reality, so I can start to see things and start to feel the actual gratitude that I should have. I was talking with one of my sponsees earlier today that Alcoholics Anonymous sometimes is going to inconvenience us. Okay. Yes, sometimes I have to show up for my commitment. I got to do the thing I don't want to do. Sometimes AA is going to inconvenience me. Okay. Yes. But what I need to recognize is that it's only inconveniencing me from a life that I have as the result of Alcoholics Anonymous in the first place. Okay. So what really ought to be the priority? Okay. I don't schedule AA around my life, man. I schedule my life around AA. Okay. We live in AA and we visit the world. And when I live in AA and I visit the world, man, the world is a pretty phenomenal place. So anyway, let's get back to page 85, Brad, please. Oh, you're muted, brother.
Sorry. It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action.
Okay, one of the things I want to say about, I want to talk about willpower for a second. Page 85, it talks about willpower there. Okay. And one of the things about willpower is, like, I think willpower gets a really bad rap in AA. Okay. Because we're very quick to say, like, willpower is of absolutely no use. Okay. Willpower is absolutely no avail to any alcoholic. Okay. Willpower is not helpful. It's like, well, just hang on a second. Okay. Yeah, there's one step where willpower is not helpful, and that's step one. Okay. Because of the functioning of alcohol on our mind has warped us into a sense that it impairs normal functioning of our willpower, and we have become powerless over our thinking, powerless over alcohol. We're condemned by a mind that will continue to take us back to drinking, and we're condemned to die by a body that ensures I'm going to drink myself to death once I start. I get it. Willpower, not helpful. But man, in the remaining steps, the rest of the steps, getting through those steps can actually take a lot of willpower. Okay. Sometimes getting through steps 4 and 5 can take a lot of willpower. Going to do steps 8 and 9 can take a lot of willpower. 10, 11, and 12 can take willpower. And in fact, it says it right here. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. What line is that? The line of being centered in God. Okay. When I am aligning my willpower with God's will, that's when I begin to use it rightly. Okay. And I'm here to tell you that most of the time, God's will and my will are not aligned. Okay. And most of the time, I have to drag my willpower kicking and screaming to be in alignment with God's will. Okay. Now, there are a few times where what God wants me to do and what I want to do are the same thing. And isn't that delightful? But a lot of the times, man, a lot of the times what I want to do and what I ought to do are not the same thing. Okay. And really a big part of AA and a big part of step 3 is me learning to take actions that are better than my feelings. Okay. To take actions that are better than my feelings. Okay? That I don't indulge my feelings anymore and just do what I want to do anymore. Alcoholics Anonymous has trained the very most important part of my body. AA has trained my feet so that regardless of what lies my mind is telling me, or regardless of the garbage that I might be feeling in my heart, Alcoholics Anonymous has trained me to just continue to take the next action, to put my feet in motion and just start working for Alcoholics Anonymous and to take actions that are better than my feelings. That is aligning my will with God's will, keeping the little circle inside the big circle. And that type of living is transformative, okay? As opposed to indulging every little petty childish emotion that I ever had. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Well, that takes us to the end of step 10 in the big book. Now, I want to go back to the 12 and 12. Because when I was newly sober in 1835 house, many years ago, I discovered a reading in step 10, and it was transformative for me and became very, very meaningful and powerful for me. And so I want to share that reading with you. It's really just a few pages, but it really touches on some things that are exceptionally important, I believe. And so we're going to be on page 90. And Brad, if you can kick us off here. This is something, guys. Anyone here ever heard of an AA speaker named Sandy B or Sandy Beach? Anybody here ever listened to Sandy Beach? Okay, if you've never listened to Sandy Beach, do not go to sleep tonight until you've listened to Sandy Beach. Sandy Beach talks about this line in the 12 and 12 all the time. I'll read it for us, Brad, this first line. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. Us. It is an axiom, means a truth that is irrefutable. Okay? It is an eternal truism of humanity. Every time I am disturbed, I'm tangled up, as we said. Every time I am disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with me. Me. Okay? There's something here called in psychology, they talk about a locus of control. There are people who have an external locus of control, and there are people who have an internal locus of control. Okay? People with an external locus of control, when something goes wrong, they look outside of themselves, okay, naturally, and start to blame everyone, okay, which is most of us in AA, okay? And what I need to do is develop, even just by taking the actions of AA, to start to, rather than put the laser beam out there, turn the laser beam around. Every time I am disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with me. Well, thank God for that, because I am the only thing through God's grace that I can change. Okay? I can change the way that I look at things. And when I change the way I look at things, the things that I look at will change. Okay? That is real. That is absolutely true. Every time I'm disturbed, no matter what the cause, there's something wrong with us. Brad, back to you. Thank you, sir.
If somebody hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also. But are there no exceptions to this rule? What about justifiable anger? If somebody cheats us, aren't we entitled to be mad? Can't we be properly angry with self-righteous folks? For us of AA, these are dangerous exceptions. We have found that justifiable anger ought to be left to those better qualified to handle it. Few people have been more victimized by resentments than have we alcoholics. It mattered little whether our resentments were justified or not. A burst of temper could spoil a day, and a well-nursed grudge could make us miserably ineffective. Nor were we ever skillful in separating justifiable from unjustifiable anger. As we saw it, our wrath was always justified. Anger, that occasional luxury of more balanced people, could keep us on an emotional jag indefinitely. These emotional dry benders often led straight to the bottle. Other kinds of disturbances, jealousy, envy, self-pity, or hurt pride, did the same thing. A spot check inventory taken in the midst of such disturbances can be of very great help in quieting stormy emotions. Today's spot check finds its chief application to situations which arise in each day's march. The consideration of long-standing difficulties and had better be postponed, when possible, to times deliberately set aside for that purpose. The quick inventory is aimed at our daily ups and downs, especially those where people or new events throw us off balance and tempt us to make mistakes.
Okay, so guys, again, Bill is talking to us right now about the different time factors between the different types of inventory. Okay, so he's saying, like, look, long-standing difficulties, set aside some time with your sponsor about once a year and go through that stuff. Okay, but the spot check inventory application is for today's ups and downs when we get tangled up. Okay, Rob, if you share it again, please. It's very helpful to have that up there. Thank you.
Sorry, Daisy interrupted me.
No problem. In all these situations.
In all these situations, we need self-restraint, honest analysis of what is involved, a willingness to admit when the fault is ours, and an equal willingness to forgive them, or to forgive when the fault is elsewhere. We need not be discouraged when we fall into the error of our old ways, for these disciplines are not easy. We shall look for progress, not for perfection.
All right, brothers and sisters, I want to tell you this next paragraph is absolutely key in my life, has been an essential, like, bedrock of my recovery. And I'm going to share it with you. Brad's going to read it for us, and then I'm going to share a couple things with you, okay?
Our first objective will be the development of self-restraint. This carries a top priority rating. When we speak or act hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates on the spot. One unkind tirade or another willful snap judgment can ruin our relation with another person for a whole day or maybe a whole year. Nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. We must avoid quick-tempered criticism and furious power-driven argument. The same goes for sulking or silent scorn. These are emotional booby traps baited with pride and vengefulness. Our first step is to sidestep the traps. When we are tempted by the bait, we should train ourselves to step back and think, for we can neither think nor act to good purpose until the habit of self-restraint has become automatic.
Okay. So, I mean, it's pretty clear here. Self-restraint, this carries a top priority rating. Okay. Then he goes on to say, nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. And I say to you, restraint of tongue and pen and text and email and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook Messenger, restraint, restraint. Don't say it. Just because I'm thinking it, just because I'm feeling it, does not mean that the world needs to hear it. Okay? Call my sponsor with that nonsense and tell him my grandiose ideas about the world. I don't need to share these things with other people all the time. Okay? And I was famous for it, man. Famous. Okay? And this razor blade tongue of mine, nothing has caused me more pain. Just as he says nothing pays off like restraint, nothing also causes more pain than lack of restraint. Okay? In the things that I say to people and how I harm people and my ups and downs and all my little feelings and all the brilliant things and all my little sharp things that I like to say and how I hurt people's feelings. You know, I'm the kind of person, man, I'm sure none of you are like this, but I'm the kind of person, I'll make fun of you to make me look good. I'm sure none of you have ever done anything like that, okay? But that's how I am, okay? I will get laughs at your expense. I will throw you under the bus to make me look funny. That's a terrible way that my defects manifest themselves, okay? So when we talk about restraint of tongue and pen, a couple of things that like just great phrases that I think about, okay? So the first phrase is the word nothing, nothing in quotes, nothing is often a good thing to do and always a good thing to say. Nothing. Just say nothing is often the right thing to do and always a good thing to say. Nothing. Okay. Another great phrase, never miss a good opportunity to keep your mouth shut. Okay. I love that phrase. Never miss a good opportunity to keep your mouth shut. Okay. I don't know about y'all, but I have not rarely in my life gotten in trouble for things that I said or things that I didn't say. Okay. To someone. How do we get in trouble? I get in trouble when I gossip. I get in trouble when I lie. I get in trouble when I try to make fun of people. I get in trouble when I'm angry and say sharp, horrible, petty, disgusting little things to people. It's terrible. Okay, restraint of tongue and pen. So when I was in treatment in 1835, one of the first times I was there, I remember the counselors there taught me how to do step 10 on what they called a preemptive basis. Okay, because it's one thing to make amends promptly for the thing that I said. It's a whole different world when I just don't say the thing. That's a much better way to make amends. That's a much better thing. If I don't harm people, then I don't have to make amends for it. And a lot of times, if I just don't say the thing, then I don't have to go clean it up. You guys with me on that? That's a much better way. That's far more prompt than actually hurting people. Okay. So the counselors there talked to me about MYOB, KYMS. What does that mean? Mind your own business and keep your mouth shut. Okay. That is a very good way to practice step 10 on a preemptive basis. Mind your own business and keep your mouth shut. Restraint of tongue and pen. And one of the things that I've learned about dishonesty as well is that when I tell a lie, which happens, it's amazing, man. God transforms us, man. I am very, very pleased to tell you all that I don't tell a lot of lies at all anymore. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing in my life, man. but I also don't live a life that I need to lie about anymore. You know what I mean? Okay. So one of the things that people have told me about lying is when we lie, when I tell a lie, what I need to do is go tell the person that I lied to that I lied to them. Okay. And that will cure me off of lying. The humility involved in having to do that. So I'll just tell this story really quickly because I think it's funny, and it actually has to do right now with the Winter Olympics going on. I told my boss at I was working at a hotel. I was like a concierge. I wasn't a concierge. I was a bellboy, is what I was. Okay, I was a bellboy at a hotel, and I told my boss that I had at one time been on the Canadian Olympic ski team. And like, why? I don't know why, because I tell lies and because I make up stories. And I told my boss that, not that I had been on the Canadian Olympic ski team, that I trained with the Canadian Olympic ski team. Okay. So I told my boss all of this, and like, guys, I barely even know how to ski. Okay. Like, I was crazy. I'm a crazy person. Okay. Like, I did this. And so they, at the treatment center, they're like, well, you tell somebody a lie, you need to go clean it up. And I'll never forget. I went to my boss and I told him, like, I told you about that, and that wasn't true. Um, and I barely even know how to ski, and I'm sorry that I did that, and I won't lie to you anymore. And I remember the look on his face was like one of like confusion, but also like just pity and sadness. Like, he just I couldn't figure out like what was wrong with it. I said, I don't know either, man. I don't know either. But anyway, so that's a helpful tool for anyone if you're having trouble with telling the truth. If you catch yourself in a lie and you do inventory and you realize that you've told a lie, go back and correct it with the person that you lied to. So now let's go back to step 10, guys. We're going to wrap up here in a little bit. Brad, back to you, please.
Oh, just a sec. In the 12 by 12 still, right?
12 by 12, disagreeable or unexpected problems.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay, man. Thank you.
I was jumping back to the other one. Disagreeable or unexpected problems are not the only ones that call for self-control. We must be quite as careful when we begin to achieve some measure of importance and material success, for no people have ever loved personal triumphs more than we have loved them. We drank of success as of a wine which could never fail to make us feel elated. When temporary good fortune came our way, we indulged ourselves in fantasies of still greater victories over people and circumstances. Thus, blinded by prideful self-confidence, we were apt to play the big shot. Of course, people turned away from us bored or hurt. Now that we're in AA and sober and winning back the esteem of our friends and business associates, we find that we still need to exercise special vigilance. As an insurance against big shotism, we can often check ourselves by remembering that we are today sober only by the grace of God, and that any success we may be having is far more His success than ours.
All right, that's it. That's the reading, guys. That's the entire reading that I would do, and I love that. And I read that every morning for like years. Okay, that I would read that and then realize that. And by the way, I'm here to tell you, if you stay sober in Alcoholics Anonymous for any appreciable length of time, you are going to achieve some level of success. Okay. At the Pacific Group, they call it cash and prizes. You're going to get the cash and prizes of life, like you will. Okay. The key when I start to experience some level of big shotism, which is a great phrase to have when you're sponsoring newcomers and people, because it does not take much for me to get a sense of big shotism. Okay. Anyone here ever been a payday millionaire? You get that one paycheck and suddenly like, I'm just like a rhinestone cowboy because I got I got one paycheck. Does not take much for us to get big shotism. I must remember in all things that any success I'm having, everybody point, everybody show me whose success. If I'm having success, whose success is it? Whose success? Everybody. I want to see the video. It's far more God's success than mine. Okay? That's what I have to remember all the time. That's humility. That is humility. is remembering that any success I may be having is far more God's success than mine. Next week, guys, we're going to talk about step 11. We're going to talk about how step 11 and step 10 are logically interwoven, particularly the impact that mindfulness meditation in step 11 has had on my ability to exercise self-restraint. So tune in next week for the exciting conclusion of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous in 10 and 11. Thank you very much, guys. We'll stop the meeting now.